Hello to all astrology enthusiasts. In this video, we will discuss the full moon in Libra for the 12 zodiac signs and how its energies manifest in our lives. Aries, the full moon in Libra occurred in your 7th house of the horoscope and accordingly brought to the surface and highlighted such key themes related to partnership, undoubtedly, with themes of equality in relationships. In general, any relationships, interactions with other people, and establishing a balance between I and you, I and we came to the forefront. That is, here the full moon brings a certain culmination, specifically in clarifying your personal or business relationships. This also includes business relationships and even interactions with open enemies. And during the full moon, we can see something, understand something for ourselves. Something is determined, specifically in the themes of the 7th house. And here, hidden resentments may surface, some unspoken issues, a need for an honest conversation. And if, let's say, relationships are, well, overloaded, so to speak, with conflicts or such imbalance, then the full moon will highlight this. Where exactly is the balance disrupted? And you may feel that you are giving more than you are receiving, or conversely, the partner demands from you something that you are, not ready for. And here there might be a moment of making some final decision in the context of any relationship, whether to continue the union or end it, or to reconsider some agreements, discuss personal boundaries in relationships. In general, a full moon in the 7th house is like a mirror that shows how you manifest in relationships, what kind of partners you attract. And for you, Aries, who are inclined towards leadership and impulsive actions, this is an important, significant chance to see where your actions and how your actions are reflected in another person. This might be a time when you can understand how important cooperation is. Any interaction and the main emphasis here is on the importance of negotiating in any relationship. This is a very good period for open conversations, for joint plans, for the distribution of roles and responsibilities in a couple or partnership, including in business. The topic of legal issues, some contracts, agreements may become more acute here. Especially if something was, unfinished or unresolved before. And to ground these energies, it's important to move from emotions to specifics here. You can use writing practices if that's relevant for you. And for example, write down what you want from your partner or what you are ready to give in return. Full moon in general is not the best time to make decisions, especially impulsive ones. But it's a great time for honesty. And here you can think about which relationships are truly valuable to you, where you are ready to invest, and where there is an energy drain in your interactions. And you can also physically ground this energy. That is, you can go for a walk. You can, by the way, walk together, discuss, and resolve any misunderstandings. You can do yoga, get a massage, and any interaction with the body will bring you back to, let's say, a cool mind and will relieve tension. Therefore, it is very important here to clear the space, cleanse your relationships, interactions, let go of old grievances, certain emotions, and certain role settings. And naturally, if there are genuine feelings present, then of course, dialogue is important. And making a choice is truly important. Therefore, use this full moon to your advantage, its energies plus a symbol. For example, I looked through tarot, the symbol of this full moon is the Ace of Cups. That is accordingly here relationships that are built on true feelings will be preserved and developed. I wish you success. See you. Taurus, the full moon in Libra took place in your 6th house of the horoscope, and here it highlighted and defined for you primarily the themes of health, daily responsibilities, daily life routine, work rhythm, and brought to the forefront issues of work in general and relationships with colleagues. And of course, taking care of your body. This is a time when all the extremes and imbalances, such as excessive busyness or neglect of yourself and your body, or conversely, excessive control over daily life come to the forefront. And naturally, fatigue, psychosomatic symptoms, irritation with this routine, or the feeling that you're carrying everything on your shoulders without adequate support from those around you may manifest. In the professional sphere, the question of how satisfied you are with your daily activities, how well they suit you, and whether they are exhausting you mentally, physically, and emotionally may arise sharply. Well, the full moon in the 6th house is generally a point where our body and our daily affairs begin to have a direct dialogue with us. That is, we might receive a signal from our body as a reminder that it's time to reassess our diet, sleep schedule, and reduce our stress levels. Or we might realize that relationships at work have become very toxic. Or you might feel that you're literally getting sick from some tension, even though you've been trying not to notice it for a long time. Additionally, you might experience a process where your internal state is completely reflected in your appearance. And if there are imbalances or mismatches here, of course, it will cause irritation, fatigue, and a feeling that life has turned into an endless series of meaningless tasks. Well, to ground the energies of this full moon, you can organize things, optimize your daily tasks, engage in sports, and release this energy. In general, it's very beneficial to clear, so to speak, your schedule, let go of some tasks, control, delegate something, and change some habits. And for you, reconnecting with yourself can be aided by massage, yoga, walks, breathing practices, and improving sleep and nutrition. Moreover, this needs to be done regularly, daily, in order to get rid of these negative energies. And it's generally good to conduct cleansing rituals in your life. That is, throw out old things, sort through something, reconsider, set up something anew, yes, in your life to unload. That is to establish balance and align these imbalances. Well, I wish you success in any case. See you. Gemini, the full moon in Libra took place in your 5th house of the horoscope. And here it activated themes of creativity for you. Themes of love, romantic relationships, your self-expression, your pleasure for pleasure. Also, in the 5th house, we have relationships with our children. And here you may gain certain clarity and understanding in the context of personal desires, in the context of personal aspirations, in terms of creative expression. The focus will generally be on how you express your individuality, how you derive pleasure and joy in life and in relationships, how you create an atmosphere, a space of joy around you. This means it's a time when you will feel a strong need for publicity or recognition of your talents, or it could be new romantic encounters or new forms of creativity and self-expression. In other words, the full moon in the 5th house helps us realize what we need in life to be happy and to experience more joy. And accordingly, to ground the energies of this full moon in your 5th house of the horoscope, it is important here to move towards the practical realization of, for example, your creative impulses, aspirations, or some creative initiatives. Here you need to give yourself the opportunity to fully enjoy creativity, or on the contrary, take a break to feel some joy in life. For example, you can engage in some hobby or passion. You need to do something without pressure, but rather with inspiration, and establish for yourself the fact that you don't need to achieve any results. You are not obliged to do so. It's a very good time to dedicate yourself to art, music, dance, or writing. Any such similar activity. Moreover, the full moon can be a wonderful moment for you to delve into some reflections and ask yourself questions like, what do I love to do? What brings me joy? What are my talents and how can I develop them? And don't be afraid to let go of old behavior patterns, especially when it comes to romantic relationships or relationships with your children. Here you also need to pay attention to the need for rest and entertainment, because the 5th house is responsible for this. And to gain more joy, more pleasure, spend more time with friends, loved ones, and dear ones. After all, romantic relationships fall under our 5th house. More flirting, more lightness. Well, I wish you success. See you. Cancers. The full moon in Libra occurred in your 4th house of the horoscope, and here it brought clarity, understanding, and certainty to the themes of this house, which concern your family, your place of residence, or relocations, or family history, or marital relationships, relationships with your parents, and in general, emotional security in the place where you live. This is the moment when you will feel a special need for harmony and balance, specifically in your own space. It doesn't matter if it's your home, family, or your inner world. The full moon here activates themes related precisely to family relationships, home comfort, and caring for parents or children. And you will experience a culmination of how you feel in your environment and with your loved ones. You might also want to gain a deeper understanding of where your foundation in life is and what generally gives you a sense of security. Additionally, this is a time to realize that something needs to change in the home or in family relationships. And there might be a desire to rethink your relationships with your parents, or to delve into exploring, for example, your family history or family traditions. Additionally, hidden emotions related to your childhood or your past may be activated. There will be a need to reassess how these memories affect your current life. You might feel the need to move, change your place of residence, or rearrange your home, for example. You'll want more coziness, more harmony. Additionally, it's a great time to resolve misunderstandings, conflicts in family relationships, and to let go of old grievances. And in general, to ground this energy, you definitely need to focus on the themes of your family and your home. This can be done through physical work. For example, you can finish renovations, rearrange your home, resolve issues with buying or selling property, or finalize documents related to moving. You can also organize family celebrations, dinners, or gatherings with relatives. And of course, resolve any misunderstandings or conflicts within the context of family relationships to get rid of past grievances, emotions, and so on. And in principle, it's important to remember that this is a chance for you to free your space and emotion from any emotional blocks, specifically in the context of interacting with your loved ones, relatives, or marital partner. Well, I wish you success. See you. Lions, the full moon in Libra took place in your third house of the horoscope and primarily activated themes of communication, interaction, learning, short trips, and generally interacting with those around you, including relationships with brothers, sisters, and even neighbors. That is, this is a moment when issues related to your daily interactions with people may come to the forefront or have already done so. And here the full moon helps you see how effectively you are using your communication skills, how open you are to new knowledge and information, because the third house is precisely responsible for large flows of information. This is also a time when changes in perception may arise due to receiving this large amount of information or some new knowledge. And for you, this full moon will precisely summarize some outcomes related to your close environment in relationships with family, brothers, and sisters. And situations may arise where the old ways of communication simply stop working. It will be necessary to change something in interactions, but with the people around you. Additionally, unexpected news, information, or events may come that affect us on a daily basis. And you can engage in rethinking your beliefs, how you generally perceive information, or how you learn. You might complete some training, perhaps some courses, and receive a certificate or confirmation. The full moon might also prompt you to think about what knowledge and skills you still need to grow professionally, for example. You might decide to try a new course of study or learn a new foreign language. The topic of technology, communication tools, and transportation might also be relevant here. Any gadgets, any technologies that we use. You might simply want to change your mobile phone, for example, or create a project on social media where there is a lot of interaction. You might summarize, so to speak, your interactions with some people you have been communicating with over the past 6 months. And in order to ground the energies of this full moon, you definitely need to get involved, actively engage in daily activities, in communication, and focus on practical matters. Immerse yourself in this new information, new knowledge, and perhaps go on some trips, short journeys, definitely related to the third house, and in general, use any practices that, let's say, calm our mind, give us the opportunity to recover, especially after a large amount of communication, and help make us calmer. This could be, by the way, some meditation, yoga, or simply walking. All of this helps to ground the energy of this full moon. It requires us to find some balance, to get rid of certain imbalances. In any case, I wish you good luck. Virgos. The full moon in Libra took place in your second house of the horoscope and directed your attention to personal values, financial matters, and any material topics related to resources. In general, the full moon here will highlight themes of self-esteem, your value, your attitude towards money, resources, and how you perceive your financial stability overall. Here, the full moon in the second house often serves as a moment for realizing what holds the greatest value for us, whether it's money, personal achievements, or certain material benefits. It's time to reassess your financial strategy, how you earn, how you spend money, and evaluate how well your values align with your actions and achievements. And for you, this is also a time when you will feel the need to reassess your overall financial priorities. There may be a desire to resolve certain financial issues, debt obligations, to get rid of debts altogether, or to focus on financial planning. And here, it's very beneficial to set priorities specifically in the context of material values. During this full moon, it's a good time to get rid of any limiting beliefs in the context of money, to let go of material attachments, and to free yourself from limiting things that prevent you from earning a decent living, and to review and rethink your needs and desires. And to ground the energy of this full moon, you need to pay attention specifically to these areas of life related to the second house, such as financial goals, financial tasks, self-esteem issues, and values. Perhaps you might want to focus on savings, investments, or planning your overall budget. This also helps to ground the energy of the full moon very well. And if the topic of personal value is relevant to you, then it might be worth, for example, working with a specialist or engaging in practices that will help you boost your inner confidence. Yes, that is, it is important here to focus specifically on these second house themes, pay attention to your financial security, and generally rethink your relationship with money, values, and material goods. Well, I wish you success. See you. Libra, the full moon is in your sign. This is your first house of the horoscope. And it's time to sum up some results from the past 6 months on the topic of how your personal identity has changed overall, how your external image has changed, on the themes of self-definition. And at the moment of the full moon, your attention will be focused on how you perceive yourself and how others perceive you. It's an especially important time to reassess your approach to life, identify any internal conflicts, and update personal goals. In fact, everything in life begins with the first house. And now is the perfect time to see the results of your efforts, to see what has changed within us, both internally and externally, to bring out all the emotional issues that were hidden or unresolved, and, so to speak, look at them from the outside, see what has changed, how it has changed, and what you want to change. For you, it's a time when questions of personal identity will be the most relevant. And here you may feel a very strong desire to understand who you really are, what is important to you, how you appear in the eyes of others, what is happening with your inner world, how to get rid of certain obligations, roles that are foreign to you, yes, and to understand your true desires and aspirations. Well, in addition, look at your interactions with the people around you, at any relationships that bring you joy, or on the contrary, are toxic and need to be eliminated, and ground the energies. The full moon in your sign, in your first house of the horoscope, definitely to establish this balance and equilibrium, to get rid of all distortions, you need to use these energies to your advantage. And, for example, immerse yourself in reflection, for instance, about yourself, your life, your goals, your image, and create a clear plan of action for the future. How do you want to look? For example, how would you like others to perceive you? You can engage in futbolni sports. You can practice meditation to calm the mind with breathing exercises. You can try a new clothing style or change your hairstyle. Or on the contrary, you have implemented these changes and now you will see the result after some time. For you, the full moon is actually a chance to rethink who you really are. Well, I wish you good luck. See you. Scorpios. The full moon in Libra is in your 12th house of the horoscope, and here it will emphasize your attention on internal processes, on some subconscious programs, on the completion of very significant cycles in your life regarding your personal growth. In general, the 12th house is associated with the secret spheres of life, some deep experiences with the completion of unfinished business situations that require us to let go, to forgive. And the full moon here in the 12th house, considering that it is in Libra, will of course primarily concern relationships. This is a time for such internal work on these themes, for realizing hidden emotions, for completing some old programs, problems. And this may also concern some secret relationships, for example, that have either become toxic or it's time to move them to another qualitatively new level. Well, and by your nature, you're also inclined towards deep self-analysis. Therefore, it is very beneficial here to conduct such psychological deep work related to your personal traumas, internal conflicts, and some old grievances. You can go into psychotherapy, or you can travel somewhere, for example, alone, to feel yourself and your inner aspirations. And in the 12th house, this theme of solitude, the theme of a state of peace, some kind of isolation, yes, temporary, it is generally about internally cleansing, recovering, reflecting, and observing oneself. And here, unexpected insights, revelations, some intuitive insights may also open up, which will help you, let's say, resolve, yes, some things that you haven't noticed until now. And it's very good to engage in practices of forgiveness, release, and cleansing. All of this will help ground the energy of this full moon in your 12th house. It's good to do this through meditation, yoga, breathing practices, clearing space of unnecessary things, maybe doing some writing practices if that's relevant for you. That is, pay attention to yourself in order to cleanse and restore energetically. A time for such a strong, powerful conclusion of old life cycles. Well, I wish you success and see you. Sagittarius, the full moon in Libra occurred in your 11th house of the horoscope, bringing to the forefront themes related to your friendships, social contacts, connections, or some group activity, or something related to your online projects, if applicable to you. And the full moon here will bring some results, conclusions, either in terms of public recognition or in terms of some project activity or collective efforts. Additionally, in the 11th house, we also have our dreams, ideals, and hopes for life. Perhaps during this time, over the past 6 months, you have been reassessing these areas of life and creating completely new images or setting new ambitions for yourself. And in general, one of the main lessons of the full moon in Libra in the 11th house will be the need to balance your needs with the needs of the group or friendships. You might feel, for example, that it's time to end certain friendships or stop some group activities that no longer align with your life goals and values. You might conclude a social or online project. You may receive recognition, yes, from the public. This full moon will also specifically draw your attention to your dreams. And it's the perfect time to analyze your desires, your goals, how they have changed over the past 6 months, and perhaps update something. Moreover, the exchange with other people is very important here. Cooperation with others, especially in large numbers. And maybe you need to somehow transform your friendships, for example. In the 11th house, considering that this is a full moon in Libra, the theme of justice, equality, or tespo, and let's say equal rights in interactions will be relevant here. And in order to ground the energies of this full moon in your 11th house, you definitely need to pay attention to your social contacts, your important friendships, and take concrete steps to, for example, expand your social connections, or on the contrary, conclude certain interactions. It's very beneficial to spend time with close people, in general, with friends who support your values. This could also involve group activities or some cultural event where like-minded people participate and you interact with them. And it's very good. To dream, actually, and to see what level of life you are at, where you want to move next. What goals need to be set so that they are realistic and achievable, and to reassess your role in relationships, in society, in order to eliminate all unnecessary imbalances and restore equality in interactions with social contacts. Well, I wish you success. Capricorns. The full moon in Libra is in your 10th house of the horoscope. And here it will bring certain conclusions, and you will see specific results of your efforts in the areas of your career growth, professional activities, and your professional ambitions, as well as your overall social status. In the 10th house, we also have marital and official relationships. And here, too, you can, for example, take some relationships to a new level after 6 months, and, for instance, get married. In general, the 10th house in astrology is responsible for our social status, for the goals we set in our lives, specifically from the perspective of professional self-realization. What achievements we want to accomplish in the public and professional sphere. And the full moon will emphasize your focus on what you want to achieve in life, on how others perceive you. This concerns the work environment, interactions with your colleagues, your leadership, and your presence in the social sphere. Perhaps in the past 6 months you started your own business, and now you can already draw certain conclusions. And one of the key themes of this full moon is precisely the reassessment of your career goals, your public image or reputation. You may feel that the time has come to either complete an important stage in your career or, conversely, take a decisive step towards future prospects in your professional activities. This is a moment to realize how satisfied you are with what you have achieved, what changes you need to make to feel more successful, and here the full moon provides clarity, offering an understanding of where you should move in your professional self-realization. Perhaps it's time to conclude some professional interactions or leave a certain position or finish a professional project. Make a final decision in the context of career aspirations. It's very beneficial to resolve any conflicts, especially with colleagues and management, with influential people. Or if these are internal conflicts that concern your professional ambitions, then to ground the energies of this full moon, it's essential to focus on professional self-realization. It's especially beneficial to plan your career actions, set realistic and achievable professional goals, ambitions, plans, work on increasing professional efficiency. and do everything possible to improve any professional interactions. And it's also good to spend time working on your image and professional reputation. Don't avoid responsibility, but rather immerse yourself in these topics to use these energies to your advantage. I wish you success. Aquarius, the full moon in Libra is in your 9th house of the horoscope. And here, it will be a significant moment for summing up in terms of your interactions with foreigners. Any business partnerships with people from abroad, or participation in international projects, or education, especially if it concerns higher education. In general, in the 9th house, we can sum up in the context of the development of our worldview, how our beliefs change, how our perception of the world and everything around us changes. Here, for example, you can sum up the study of a foreign language over the past 6 months, or you have been on some trips, and now you can also see the results of your efforts. For instance, these trips have significantly changed you psychologically, right? For example, there has been a reevaluation of your life philosophy and your beliefs. Here you can sum up in the context of acquiring some new information or new knowledge, what you have learned, or receive confirmation in the form of a diploma, certificate, resolve legal issues, legal matters, or obtain documents related to moving, for example. Everything related to travel, everything concerning the broadening of your personal horizons. The full moon will highlight what has changed. That is, all these changes that have happened to you over the past 6 months will allow you to make new decisions on where to move forward. And in general, to ground the energies of this full moon, considering that it is in Libra, it is necessary to establish some balance, some kind of equitable interaction. You can summarize, for example, business partnerships with people from abroad, right? What result did you achieve? Positive or negative? Do you want to continue or not? Or if these are relationships, personal relationships with foreigners, then perhaps it's time to either end them or take them to a new level. All of this will be relevant for you here. You need to pay attention to these areas of life. By the way, perhaps in the past 6 months, you met a mentor who really influenced your value system or your worldview. And now you can also summarize your interactions with this person. All of this allows you to ground the energy of the full moon in your 9th house of the horoscope. Well, I wish you success. See you. Pisces. The full moon in Libra took place in your 8th house of the horoscope and opened up an opportunity for you to take stock of significant transformational personal processes and personal crises. Here, financial topics will also come to the forefront, including other people's finances, especially if it concerns any debt obligations, or any insurance, tax, or credit payments, or money that belongs, for example, to your partner or spouse, and you have a connection to it, or issues of inheritance. For instance, over the past 6 months, you have been dealing with inheritance issues, and now you will receive the result. Additionally, in the 8th house, topics of personal relationships are relevant in the context of the intimate side of life. And here, there might also be some changes. The full moon will highlight what to pay attention to, what to change, or perhaps to end some personal relationships, or on the contrary, to engage in an honest conversation to strengthen and enhance. Yes, the level of intimacy in personal relationships, the level of trust. Additionally, in the 8th house, we have secret knowledge, esoteric knowledge. Perhaps in the past 6 months, you have been engaged in studying and exploring these areas, and now you can conclude that you have reached a certain professional level, let's say, in the study of esotericism. Here, we specifically see the outcome, the result of some internal changes that divide our life into before and after. Well, in order to ground the energies of this full moon in your 8th house, you definitely need to pay attention to the themes of this house. For example, this could be paying off debts or settling some debt obligations or completing some legal processes related to inheritance, or with a joint budget, yes, with your spouse. During this full moon, it's very beneficial to release any fears, suppressed emotions, or dependencies, because all of this is related to the 8th house, and it will all come to the surface, so it's very good to get rid of it and change your approach. It's a good time to go into psychotherapy if you can't handle it on your own, and to conduct deep psychological work in order to cleanse, free yourself, and create space for the new. Overall, during this full moon, there will be deep emotional revelations, primarily to oneself, that need to be worked through, closed, completed, and simply finished, to end old life cycles in order to move into the new. Well, I wish you success. See you. Bye-bye.